Well, welcome back. Senate Democrats on the Budget Committee agreeing to a $3.5 trillion spending bill. This plan has no Republican support. It would need to be passed through budget reconciliation. That means he needs all of the Democrats to agree. The bill addresses a wide set of progressive issues. It is expected to include tax increases on Americans as well. Joining me right now is former acting White House Chief of Staff, former OMB Director Mick Mulvaney. And Mick, I know that you always want to see a plan paid for. And even though they're going to be raising taxes sky high from the highest earners to corporations, it doesn't even look like it's enough revenue to pay for this plan. Your reaction to the $3.5 trillion spending plan announced yesterday?
Yeah, good morning, Maria. Thanks as always for having me. My reaction is just that there is no way to pay for it. And I think they're starting to acknowledge there's really no way to pay for it. Even some of the Republicans who have worked on that bipartisan infrastructure bill we can talk about recognize there's just not a way to raise this much money without raising taxes on the middle class. There's just not enough rich people in the country that they could raise taxes on. There's not enough corporations. The corporate tax is a small fraction of what the government takes in every single year. You could raise it dramatically and it wouldn't raise that much more money. So what you're going to see, I think it's an educated guess over the next couple of weeks, is a lot of smoke and mirrors. One of my favorites is they're going to close the tax gap. They're going to spend more money at the IRS, and the IRS is magically going to take in money. This is something that we were not willing to assume in our first Trump budget way back in 2018 because it would have been attacked as a gimmick. There's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's going to be a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth about paying for things. But at the end of the day, if anything passes, it will be unpaid for.
Do you think that he has Democrat support? Months ago, I reported that he did not even have the support of his Democrat colleagues to get something through reconciliation. Have they come to some kind of an agreement that he can get the backing of, for example, a Senator Manchin?
Well, that's a great question, and I think your intuition there is right. I think Joe Manchin has sort of become this poster child for Democrats who still care about fiscal responsibility. He can do that. He can take on Chuck Schumer because of where he's from. Remember, Donald Trump won West Virginia by high 2 digits in the last couple of election cycles. So it doesn't hurt Manchin to go up against Schumer politically. But there are many other Democrats who are uncomfortable with this. He is not the only moderate. You've got 2 of them out in Arizona, as a matter of fact. So my guess is that while Manchin gets a lot of the attention, your intuition is correct, that there's a lot of Democrats who are not as comfortable with this, but they're more than happy to let Joe take the heat.
I see. Let me bring Nancy Tegler in. Mick, go ahead, Nancy.
Hey, Mick. Thanks, Maria. So this global tax that Janet Yellen is pushing and that the OECD apparently has agreed to. I think one of the things that politicians don't seem to understand is that corporations employ their constituents. And so I'm curious as to what you think the support will be in Congress for, because, a good portion of this is going to have to get through Congress. What's your take on that?
I think that I'm more interested in the global minimum tax as sort of an academic discussion because I don't think it'll get passed in Europe. Keep in mind, every country has a veto authority over there on major policies like this. So it's not just Ireland, but Estonia and Hungary have also come out against it. And in this country, you have to get major pieces through and probably not on reconciliation. So I don't really think it's going to happen. I think it's that discussion and it's the principles behind it that worry me the most. Because the same discussion that you're hearing now overseas could be applied to the tax disparities between, say, no income tax in Florida and a high income tax in California. So I'm not too concerned about the practical implications overseas in the immediate future. Domestically, from a philosophical standpoint, is where I pay more of my attention.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even understand why anyone would think we're going to get other countries to agree to come to a 15% level so that American companies don't pick up and take their headquarters to Ireland because they have a 9% tax. I mean, I think they're at 13% or something. But the bottom line is this would be a tax increase for someone like in Ireland. Why would Ireland say, oh, yeah, I'm going to get on board with a global tax? But Mick, before you go, real quick on the broader spending plans in this country. Look, I understand that every president wants to put his mark or her mark on, the economy and their presidency. But what's the point of this massive spending and tax plan in the first place? I mean, the economy is coming back. We're talking about 7% growth for 2021. Slowly but surely, things are normalizing again. I mean, why? I mean, Joe Biden had a $1.9 trillion COVID relief plan that he was able to pass. And now we're talking about a $1 trillion infrastructure plan. Why add another $3.5 trillion to the debt? What's the point of this package?
Politics and not economics. And I think Washington makes a lot more sense recently if you simply take economics and throw it in the trash and look at it through the lens of politics. Give the Democrats credit. Maria, they're much better at using their majorities than the Republicans are. They were willing to give up their majority in 2010 in order to pass Obamacare. They got it done. They changed the culture, the landscape of the nation. They're trying to do that. Again, they are willing to give up their majorities in the House and the Senate. They don't want to, but they're willing to do it in order to do things like expand Medicare or get free college education. These are the things they stand for, and they are willing to give up political power temporarily in order to make the country look more like they want it to be. And I think that's what you're seeing. And it's not economics. It's pure politics. You have to give credit. Elections have consequences, and no one knows it better than the Democrats.
Well, they won't be giving up much if they get H.R. 1 passed, right?
There's certainly that's a great discussion for another day about whether or not the federal government wants to run elections in this country, whether or not states, which have done it well for 240 years, will continue to do it.